Former Representative Liz Cheney claims that Speaker Mike Johnson was a collaborator in former President Trump's efforts to remain in power after the 2020 election. If you look at what Donald Trump is trying to do, he can't do it by himself. He has to have collaborators, Cheney said in an interview on CBS this Sunday morning. And the story of Mike Johnson is a story of a collaborator. Cheney had previously argued that Johnson is dangerous and knew that his actions surrounding the 2020 election were wrong. Johnson led an amicus brief, supporting a Texas lawsuit that sought to overturn results in several states after the election. He voted to object to the election results in Arizona and Pennsylvania shortly after the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. Johnson won the speakership on October 25th following weeks of Republican chaos in the House. The former Wyoming representative said Johnson knew what he was doing supporting Trump's attempts to overthrow the last election and knows now that what he's doing and saying is wrong. He's willing to do it in an effort to please Donald Trump, and that's what makes it dangerous. Cheney said in an interview that's set to air Sunday. CBS reporter John Dickerson asked Cheney to confirm her assertion. The Speaker of the House to collaborate to overthrow the last election, he asked. Absolutely, she responded. Cheney, an outspoken critic of Trump, is releasing a book Tuesday called Oath and Honor, a Memoir and a Warning. The book rebuked the modern Republican Party and dives into the January 6th insurrection. Notably, Cheney was the vice chair of the House Select Committee to investigate the attack on the Capitol. Cheney made a public exit from Congress last year for sending her after attacking her own party for supporting Trump. She lost her primary in August 2022. So, it's kind of hard to argue with this. I think sometimes people do forget that basically the entire congressional, pretty much all the Republicans in the House and Senate are tainted by what happened during January 6th. Most of them either directly or indirectly went along with it. Like, you had a couple of people like, Collins and Murkowski that called Biden at, the night of the election and congratulated him, or right after he won, didn't have to wait until the results were certified. But then you had people like McConnell who were really slick, and they were like, we are waiting to see what happens during the January 6th certification of the election. And then you had other people who were more direct in their nonsense, such as Cruz, and, Blackburn and the rest of their ilk. But the biggest problem so, again, this January 6th stuff, she's correct as far as Trump had a lot of collaborators. But you have to ask yourself, isn't that kind of what the voters want? I mean, I said before, the Republican Party for the last 6-7 years has been a cult. It's been a cult of no ideology that pretty much accepts and does whatever its dear leader wants. For example, when Trump met with Kim Jong-un, plenty of his supporters were clapping, oh my God, what this man just wants peace, great stuff, right? And that was something I supported. But then when he bombs Syria, that was strength. And what did Van Jones say? This was the night Trump became president. So pretty much anything that he does, he's got people, whether you're talking about his supporters or other or members of Congress, who are going to back him. All of these collaborators. He couldn't have done January 6th by himself. Yeah, of course, I would say he egged it on for 2 months with the big lie about the election being stolen with no proof. But my point I'm making is, Johnson is one of many collaborators. He's one of, if he wasn't the speaker now, whoever the other speaker would be, whether it was still McCarthy or Scalise or any of them, it was always going to be someone who at best toed the line regarding the January 6th incident, and at worst directly propelled and supported the notion that the election was stolen. And really, Cheney has no room to talk because let's not forget, if we're actually getting into Trump's presidency, not the last 2 weeks of it, he did the crazy thing, but if we actually get into the rest of his tenure, she voted with him 92% of the time, so she's one of his biggest collaborators from a legislative standpoint. No, I think these interviews are mostly just being done to get some attention for a book, which, hey, it might be good. I don't know, uh, but you just have to understand that anyone for probably the next 10 to 20 years, I think anyone who really rises in the Republican Party is going to be someone that just praises and worships Trump like there's no tomorrow, and that includes actively denying the validity of the election results, because that's just the kind of crazy country that we live in at this point, that there is a sizable 30-40% of people that will believe anything that comes out of that man's mouth. And there's a lot of people whose whole careers, whether you're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert or any of the rest of them, are staked on Trump, 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 and just parroting whatever he says. So his collaborators are, even if this election is truly the last time we have to deal with him on the ballot, they're going to be around for a long time with their nonsense.